Welcome everybody. Welcome to another live streams, everyone. Please do me a favor. As always, let me know if you can see the charts clearly. You can hear me all right, not sounding like a robot or anything, at least not more than normal. Hopefully you're all having a fantastic day so far. I will get started in a sec. Just want to make sure the live stream is working for all of you guys, and we will get started. But yeah, guys, interesting time in the markets. I mean, you guys know I've been quite bullish lately. We are seeing a bit of a pullback the last couple days. I myself, not too worried yet. I still think that my overall analysis stands true. I'm still targeting higher prices. But obviously the market doesn't always care what I want or what I think. So we will dive into it and just, see what the charts have to offer here. Everything is good. Right on. Thank you, my friend. Yeah, guys, hopefully you're all doing fantastic aside from the little bit of a correction we're having. You guys know that in my last stream, I was actually calling for a little bit higher prices on Bitcoin. I still believe that we can shoot higher. My targets overall are still aiming for that 120,000 US dollars just because when we lost the main uptrend here, basically this level here, we never did retest that resistance, right? It's very natural to end up breaking support and then getting a relief rally up towards resistance for a retest, even if it is bearish. The thing is, I don't know yet if this is going to be a bearish retest if we get up there. But that's just kind of what I would be looking for. I will at least start being cautious when we get basically near that 120,000 US dollars. That's if we even get to that level, you guys. But yeah, basically that is just a typical Stu'S fib pull I would have with a structure loss like that and looking for some sort of a retracement. Obviously, it would take a while to play out because this is the 4 hour. Also, same thing on the daily, the weekly, whatever. This is our macro structure right now, basically. Since we've set our all-time highs, that's basically where this fib pull comes from. So that resistance basically lining up from 120,000 to about 127,000. That is, I know it's a fairly big range, but on the longer time frames, and especially when it's volatile like this and coming from all-time highs, yeah, those ranges are going to be quite large a lot of the times, right? So I do want to take a look at Bitcoin on many time frames, take a look at the Bitcoin dominance, see what's happening there, take a look at some altcoins that I preferred trading recently. Haven't really picked up too many new positions recently. I was away for a couple of days and basically just getting back into it here. I did end up taking a new position on Sol, which I'll get into. I mentioned that on my Telegram earlier. But yeah, as far as the 4 hour guys here, as I said, with my fib pull like this, that is basically where my resistance is. And as well with the MDX ALGO master, if I flick that off and back on, notice that it has the exact same fib pull that I do. It doesn't always work out that way, but this indicator does have automatic Fibonacci's, and I have it set up for the Stu'S fib setups. So it does automatically pull them. Sometimes it doesn't get it perfect, but when it does, basically, it's not even that it doesn't get it perfect. It's just that sometimes it'll pull it and maybe the setup has already played out or it's been invalidated or whatever, and it hasn't reset yet, kind of a thing. But at this point, this is how I would have my fib pull. The indicator is lining up perfectly with that. So I love having AI on my side as a little bit of confluence there. And as well, I want to bring up the trend master, you guys, and actually I'll turn off the algo master just to clean it up a bit. So this is something that had basically caught my attention recently. Those of you in my last couple streams know that I pointed this out as a bit of a warning, the fact that we got a lower buy signal on the 4 hour with the MDX trend master. It's a little bit of mixed signals because we have higher sells and lower buys. So not exactly lining up perfectly. So the trend of that indicator is yet to be determined at this point. But I wouldn't really have any too major of concerns until we print a lower sell signal, right? If we already have a lower buy signal and now we print a new lower sell signal, if we lose this trend, then I would start to have my concerns on the trend for sure. But at this point, I mean, even where we pulled back to, you guys, notice where we ended up finding support right on this indicator, basically testing it with some wicks, but the candle body's all staying above so far. Obviously, that can change very quickly. Maybe the next 4-hour candle, who knows? But at this time, support is still supporting the trend. This indicator is showing us that basically the price just had to eventually correct, come back and retest the trend. And now we're going to have to see what happens from there. I want to zoom out to the daily as well because it caught my eye earlier today. So this is one of those cases as well that notice right now we have this blue line flip into pink, which is naturally my my buy color here. And if just notice this is the daily time frame, and notice what happened. We did get a sell signal. It was obviously significantly higher than the previous one, so they are still trending to the upside. And now if we were to get a buy signal, if it's going to happen, it's likely going to be in the next few days, sometime this week. But if we do print a higher buy signal on the daily chart like that on the MDX Trendmaster, I would be considering that a very strong sign that basically we are confirming a significantly higher low, right? The lowest point between the two, which basically right where my long was, what was that, 2 weeks ago now when I took this basically live a couple minutes before my stream and then went live. Still holding on to a chunk of that position. I still have a handful of my swing positions. I know I have one on Bitcoin, Ethereum, Hype, Jupiter, and now Solana. I have a bit of a scalp. Hopefully it turns into a runner as well. But I still have all those positions that I took on these live streams and in the Telegram that I had mentioned were running last week. So right now, I would love to see us hold above this line, basically 113,000. So I don't really want to see us lose that support. That would just be, again, this indicator support on the daily. And again, if we can print a daily buy signal there that much higher like that, that would be a huge sign of strength for me. Basically, yeah, there would still be a fair amount of wiggle room until invalidation because I would be considering this our new higher low. But that's on a very macro time frame, and that is just a beautiful swing point if that ends up happening. So at this point, we're going to have to see what happens. The weekly, not looking bad, not looking great, in my opinion. Still looks okay, right? We're still staircasing higher. The fact is that even since this high, higher low, we're still holding this, and this actually runs all the way down to about 98K, that bit of structure there. So far, not looking too bad. Of course, this could get rejected at any time. You know, the fact that we lost this little range of support, I don't consider that a very significant level, to be quite honest. On the lower time frames, like the 4-hour, that is absolutely that same level. So on the 4-hour, yeah, it's a little bit concerning. On the weekly, obviously, they could turn into something because generally the lower time frames are going to flip, then the midterm time frames, then the longer time frames. But so far, the weekly is still holding. It's still staircasing higher. I actually want to bring up the Trendmaster on the weekly. Same thing. Notice that's a huge trend, right? Look at this from not quite the bull market start or the bear market low, but that's a very nice sign there. And every time we came back down to this pink line or just below it, it ended up being a great buy signal. So far, we also have that below the price a little bit. So basically lining up with that support that I've been talking about there around 98K. This Trendmaster on the weekly is actually around 102K. But either way, just a beautiful trend to the upside. So until we actually lose a macro trend, I'm not going to be too concerned about this price action quite yet. So we are going to have to see there. Guys, I know I've been mentioning in my recent streams that I will be slowly transitioning these live streams over to a new YouTube channel. So today is the first day I'm going to do this, but I want to give you guys a little bit of a sneak peek today. This will be the new channel. Basically go ahead and subscribe to the new channel where I will be doing these live streams in the very near future. I will still be with Financial Summit here, just under my own new channel. So I will keep you posted with those updates as they come. This will not affect anybody who's signed up to my Telegram through my BloFin link, anything like that. This all remains the exact same. Just basically going to be streaming on a different YouTube channel name in the near future. just so that, you know, the crypto trading channel, very generic. We are going to be looking at Bitcoin, Ethereum, altcoins, meme coins, shit coins, looking at everything. I'm not a Bitcoin maxi. I love Bitcoin, don't get me wrong, but I just want to trade anything. So that's kind of the thought behind moving over to a different crypto trading channel. So do yourselves a favor, get signed up there. Only 8 subscribers right now. It's not even running yet. So, but go ahead, subscribe to that. Basically next week, I will probably do half and half. I'll start the streams here and then migrate over there, kind of a few minutes in, basically do a little recap there and start streaming there. And then by October, I plan on fully streaming at the crypto trading channel. So again, if you appreciate my analysis, you want to see more of my live streams and all that sort of good stuff, do yourselves a favor and subscribe to that channel. But yeah, guys, Bitcoin so far, like I said, not any huge concerns yet. Yeah, there's little signs of weakness, but you know, nothing too crazy yet. Even looking at the shorter time frames, yeah, we're getting a bit of a bounce so far. This is one of those times we have obviously lower trending buy signals. We're getting mixed signals because we have higher sells. So really at any time, if we end up losing this buy trend and flip into a lower sell signal on the MDX Trendmaster, I would have my concerns that we're just going to trend back to the downside, even just test the lows of the range, whatever. But as it stands right now, I really wouldn't want to YOLO into a short right now, also a long right now, because we're basically in the middle of a range. Notice how I have this Fibonacci pulled right here, basically because we lost some structure, right? We obviously lost this low, making this the high that I'm pulling my fib from and just chasing the price. So I typically don't like entering a position until it's at least at a 786 pullback, and that's where I like to start laddering in. So I myself, I'm actually not that interested in shorting right now because I think that the 4-hour trend and the daily trend is still good. But anyone desperate for shorts and that sort of thing, I would be starting to look kind of up above about 116.2K. That's where I'm starting to consider resistance. If it looks weak, maybe I'll take some sort of a hedge short, or just a scalp short, if nothing else. But I'm not overly bearish on the midterm to long-term trend yet. I think it's very natural that, I mean, really, when we look at this, you guys, looking at the weekly like this, look at this big sell-off that people are panicked about, right? We basically went up, retested the top of our previous candle, and now came back down. And we are literally at basically the weekly open, the daily open, all the opens, the last weekly close. We're just basically hovering there. So nothing crazy has actually happened when you actually zoom out and look at things. So yeah, not all hope is lost quite yet on that. Bitcoin dominance, I do want to take a look at this before getting into some altcoins. Naturally, when the market is correcting like that, it's very natural that you see Bitcoin dominance climbing a little bit because people are getting a little scared out of their higher risk assets, just going to something a little more stable. So people focusing on Bitcoin more so. But that being said, guys, notice what has happened here is that we've basically just set another lower low. And just like any trade setup I look at on the 4-hour, the daily, the weekly, the 5-minute, etc., you guys know that I love looking for those pullbacks before the continuation, and Bitcoin dominance is no different. And this is on the daily. So we had this low here, then we had a lower low. This is my confirmed lower high on the trend. So notice I have this red line here. I pulled a fib from there. So even if this climbs a little bit higher, I'm hoping that we see it get rejected before or around our lower high structure there. I would love to see the Bitcoin dominance continue dropping off a cliff, because that would be very good for the altcoins. And that's what I've been favoring trading recently. Basically since the Bitcoin dominance dropped this trend line here, I have been very vocal about the fact that I've been trading altcoins more, specifically Ethereum, Solana, and Hype. have really been the 3 coins of choice for me, because decent market cap, decent volume, nice clean charts, all that sort of stuff. So those are the 3 I've been mostly trading. But yeah, Bitcoin dominance, although it is climbing, the trend is still to the downside on the daily. So no major concerns there. Ethereum, I mean, we're starting to look like we're trying to turn around here. Again, it's a significantly lower buy. This is just the 5-minute here. But yeah, so far it is holding as support, but being our buy and sell signals are not trending together to the upside yet. I would like that to be confirmed before, assuming that we're in a new uptrend from our little pullback there. What can we say about the 4-hour? That being said, is, guys, I mean, in the Telegram, especially, guys, I think, was this on Friday? This was just a couple days ago. Yeah, on Friday, I had mentioned that I was taking more profits off my Ethereum long because we hit my target, right? As far as the 4-hour, I've been showing this Ethereum range for a couple weeks at this point, basically since we had this high. So August 24th, the following day, I mean, this would have been my range pull here. So I've been talking about this for the last couple of weeks on my live streams. And yeah, we basically tested the 786 a few times, really just hugged that support for over a week. And eventually we got that move. So we ended up hitting my 0.5 fib target and my 214 fib target. So at that point, it's not like anything is seriously wrong with the chart that we see us correcting now, because we hit my main STU'S target. And the reason, I mean, I know a lot of you guys who watch these streams, on a regular basis or have chatted with me, whatever, the reasoning for my 214 target is basically the opposite 786. So if I pull from where we topped to where this little downtrend stopped, would have been this wick down here. If we go something like that, notice we're very close to my 786 there. So it's not going to be perfect, because obviously the range is a slightly different size, but very close. So that 214 often front runs the opposite 786 very slightly. And so, yeah, not too surprised to see a bit of a pullback there. And this, again, just outlines the importance of setting take profits when you enter a position like this. This is why I love Fibonacci setups, you guys. I mean, as the title of the video, Fibonacci trading, you guys know that probably 90%, 80 to 90% of the trades that I take are based around Fibonacci's. And one of the reasons is because it's so systematic. It's so easy to set your entries and set your take profits and set your invalidations, whatever. It's just very limited with how much you can. It takes away a lot of the guesswork, I suppose is what I'm saying, because it's very systematic. You have those levels outlined. So that's why I love these STU'S fibs. And for those of you who are interested in seeing more examples, just seeing more of my fib pulls, more of the way I look at market structure, just more of my overall thoughts on the market in general, some of my trade setup ideas. If that is something that interests you guys, do yourselves a favor, scan the QR code, get in my Telegram channel. And you guys, my partners at BloFin are currently also giving this special deposit and trading volume bonus available until September 24th. So very cool. They're very good at keeping my followers up with just up to date, just bonuses and stuff like that, guys. But yeah, just going over some of the examples in the old Telegram there. All of these trade setups were shared in real time, except for that troll there. Some of these numbers have changed. I haven't taken any new screenshots today. This was actually on Friday, I believe. Some of them are a little higher. Some of them are a little lower. But yeah, still have all those positions open, at least a chunk of them, because I love playing the range first, you guys. As I always say, setting those take profits, love playing the range first to be safe, because crypto loves bouncing around. Any asset, assets generally trade sideways. They chop around, they bounce in ranges, inside bigger ranges. They do that a lot more than trending in one single direction. So that's why I have take profits in the range. Whatever I pull my fib, that is the range that I'm looking at playing. And that's why the targets are laid out right on my fibs, right? So very important there. Solana, that's one that I want to look at as well. We are pulling back a little bit. I hit my first target. I got very close to getting stopped out on this one. Basically, I always leave my stop loss a little further than my 115. This one was even a little extra, just because that 230 level was so close to this level. So I basically had my stop at 229.88 and missed it by about 15 cents. Somewhere in there. But either way, hit my first target, updated my stop loss to break even already, because since we went deeper than I was really hoping this would, if this was going to be a strong uptrend, I would have really only expected it to end up hitting the 786, 886, maybe down to these levels. But since it actually dropped below the 115, that's showing a little bit of extra strength from the bears, in my opinion. So that's why I updated my stop loss to break even on the remaining 3/4 of my position before hitting my second take profit there. And also because I have a handful of running swing positions at this point, I'm okay just treating this as a scalp for now, because the market is looking a little bit weak right now. Like I said, I'm not too worried about it at this point, but it still could be weak for a few days, or really even the whole week could turn bearish. So who knows, right? Just protecting myself, basically. Hype, another one that, so this one has obviously lost some structure as well. I was looking at basically this as a high, higher low, and we obviously broke this level. So this is one of those things where, yeah, we can absolutely bounce higher. Hell, we could go to new highs, right? The thing is, hype has been in price discovery. It has been at all-time highs for basically months at this point. And to see a little correction like this, it could absolutely just end up blasting right through resistance again. However, since we did lose this higher low on the trend, I would start to be a little bit cautious if we end up getting towards resistance again. So that 786 basically starts around $56.25 and swing fail zone all the way up to about $58.27. But yeah, we have a little bit of room to go before we even get there if that happens. But yeah, kind of same thing I was talking about before. I wouldn't really be interested in shorting this, even if I thought this was bearish right now. I wouldn't so much be looking to short it from this, just because we're kind of in the middle of a range. If anything, if you were looking at the micro range, we would have had a low here, lower low here, and technically we've broke that. So if anything, I would love to see us go something like this and just start staircasing up to retest this resistance. Again, I myself not really looking for shorts right now. Maybe a hedge, if anything, or a bit of a scalp. But at this point, I don't have blind orders set or anything like that. I just not feeling super bearish on the market still, even with this little pullback. So hype's still looking okay. 4 hour, what can I say about the 4 hour? Let's bring up the trend master. So notice we are basically flirting right along that pink line again. So the MDX trend master, we dropped below it very slightly, but we are trying to reclaim it right now. So much like Bitcoin, we still have that trend of higher trending sell signals, right? We had a sell, we had a higher sell, we had a buy, a higher buy, and a higher buy. And so far, we're still holding that trend. So at this point, I mean, we realistically on the 4 hour here for hype, we could drop all the way. We might have a range, something like this. I'm not willing to short and assume that that's what's going to happen. But if we end up printing a sell signal on this indicator, or basically just continuing to staircase lower slowly, I would not be surprised to see us pull back all the way to closer to 46, 45 US dollars. And that would just be basically pulling a fib from this low back here. So basically treating this as our previous high. Then where did this rally end? Higher high, higher low, right? So pulling a fib from there, that's basically what I would be looking at. But I'm not saying that we're going to drop down there. I personally don't think we're going to see that much strength from the bears. However, I love to be ready for anything. And if we drop down to those levels, yeah, sure, I'll end up getting stopped out on the rest of my that remaining quarter of my hype position. that's totally fine. But when we get down to these support levels, if we get down there, I'm not going to be one of those people panicking and shorting into support, right? Because I'm planning ahead and just looking at this as a potential support level. So important to be planning ahead like that in the market, you guys. Jupiter, this is one. So I think that was about 3 weeks ago now. It was definitely in one of these live streams about 3 weeks ago. Somebody gave me an altcoin request to look at Jupiter, and we were trading inside that swing fail zone that I had. If you are in here, let me know. I cannot remember who told me to look at that, but I did end up taking that long while I was live and got that altcoin request. And I mean, we ended up getting my 10-to-1 risk reward ratio, or approximately 10-to-1. Oops. Holy smokes. Let me just fix this up a bit. It was basically, I think it was a 9.5-to-1 risk reward ratio, something like that. Except I think it was a little less. I think that was about what I had. So basically my reasoning for taking this was just because, again, with a Fibonacci setup, is that since we were trading in between the 1 and the 115 fib, I had a very tight invalidation for, even though it was risky, the loss was so small compared to the potential gains there. And at this point, I still just have a quarter of it running just as a moon bag, right? I was taking profits at my profit levels on the way up and bumped my stop loss to break even, got super close to getting stopped out there as well. Never quite did. Still have that quarter moon bag left. And we'll just see what happens here. It might get stopped at break even. It might start trending higher. We will see. Again, I like to take profits in the range. If this is the range that I pulled, those are my fibs. I'm obviously taking profits at my take profit levels. However, if it's a home run trade, I don't like banking on home run trades, but if they happen, I absolutely want to ride them out. So I almost never close an entire position. I usually end up taking, I always ladder into positions and I ladder out of positions. It just really helps with that fear of, I don't know if I should close my position or let it run. I have so many people ask me all the time, Stu, what would you do here? Would you let your position run or would you close it right here? If I'm asking myself that, I'm probably going to close a quarter to a half of the position and let the rest run, because I want to catch that home run if that trade turns into a home run trade. However, I'm not relying on it, right? I'm protecting myself. I'm taking profits where I'm supposed to, because that's where it gets risky when you start getting greedy, right? Yeah, as far as, I had a couple meme coins I wanted to look at, you guys. Troll, I've been looking at that one for quite a while. Honestly, looking a little bit weak. I have my concerns with the Trendmaster right now. We did print a lower sell signal. Now, this is one of those times where, yeah, that's a bit of a warning. It is a big concern. However, the buy signals and the sell signals are not aligning yet. We don't have a lower buy followed by a lower sell. However, it's at least worth considering that, this chart is, well, I say it's looking weak because it's pulling back, but at the same time, I mean, we've been basically trading sideways since the start of August. This has basically been one massive consolidation for a month and a half at this point. And that's after this coin did about a 25x. So I guess I shouldn't really say it looks weak, just for people, considering new positions on something like this. Yeah, it's, I have my concerns on something like that, but all in all, this has performed very well, and consolidation for an extended amount of time is really not that crazy to see. Cat with Mask as well. You guys know I've been pointing out this one as another memer that I've been enjoying, trading spot as well as just accumulating, and we are still testing that Stuber fib. So we've been trading around this level for quite some time. Troll actually did something like this where we traded sideways along here for a month or two, and then it exploded for a 25x. Not saying that's going to happen again, but I love that this is the first big Stuber fib on this chart. It's only about a $7 million market cap. So obviously that has its added risk. Anytime you're looking at low cap meme coins on Solana, for example, I mean, obviously they're high risk. It's the Solana casino. Take with that information what you will. Don't get silly. Don't get greedy. I mean, they are that. Small micro cap coins like that and meme coins, to me, they are a casino. It's nothing but gambling, but high risk, high reward sometimes. So yeah, those are a couple of the memers that I'm looking at. Bitcoin, I want to go back to Solana, still hanging on for now. I actually want to see what is. So the ALGO master does have a bearish fib pulled right now if we do go a little bit higher. So resistance stepping in on Solana on the lower time frames. If we get up to about $236.30, I would start to be considering some resistance, taking some more profits, etc. Obviously, my 214 fib is very close to there. I'm actually just going to extend this just so that we can see when it hits the 214, if it does. But yeah, obviously, as normal, I have another TP, which is actually front running my 214 a little bit. I always front run my targets a little bit, and I always leave a little extra wiggle room for my invalidations. That's what I like doing with these fibs. But yeah, I would like to see this go a little bit higher yet. Trendmaster having a hard time staying above that buy signal. A lower sell signal, any candle could end up pushing us lower, or at least to retest the bottom of this range again. If we are going to go back down to the bottom. Oh, actually, here, 1 second. Technically, there would be a STU'S here if we end up pulling back further. Not saying it has to play out, but there is technically a STU'S there. My reasoning for that, normally I would say, okay, this is our low, lower low. This is our lower high. If you're actually looking at the microstructure, technically we had this low, lower low, and then pushed even slightly lower, and we broke that downtrend. So technically we do have a valid STU'S there. If we pull back a little bit further, which would be invalidated basically below 229 US dollars. How are you all feeling in the chat right now, by the way? How is everyone feeling about the market? Do you think that it's over? Do you think it's bear market time? Do you think there's one final push? Do you think we're nowhere near the end? How is everyone feeling? I'm just going to catch up on the chat a little bit here. Tom Lee was on CNBC saying he expects a monster move in BTC and Ethereum through the end of the year. I usually, although I would typically agree with that, I have a feeling Bitcoin has either topped or very close. I think altcoins will still have a good run. And honestly, Bitcoin could too, right? There's also always the chance that the 4-year cycle doesn't matter as much this time, that, it's the supply shock that it creates is actually smaller and smaller every time. Plus with ETFs, when gold ETFs started, there was actually closer, I think it was about an 8 to 10 year bull market that gold got. Maybe we see something similar with Bitcoin. It is possible. We will have to see what happens. Obviously, we're just going to take the charts as they come, just basically being open to anything. But yeah, sometimes I have my concerns when those big crypto figures start spewing ridiculous targets and stuff like that. Sometimes that's a big signal. But we'll have to see. Alexander, I am fantastic. How are you, my friend? Tube Dog Surf, welcome. Good to see you here again. Hurley, good to see you here, my friend. Hopefully you're all doing fantastic. Yeah, sorry, I see a few people mentioning the YouTube channel. As I mentioned earlier, I will be doing these live streams in the near future on this new channel, the crypto trading channel. It will be Bitcoin, altcoins, meme coins. It'll be everything, not just Bitcoin maxis, just trading in general. So yeah, if you guys like my streams, even if you don't, I'm just kidding. Hopefully you do if you're here. But yeah, do me a favor, subscribe to this channel because next week, well, this week I am going to be showing it to you guys. Next week, I'm actually going to do about half and half, where I'll start streaming here and then we'll switch over to the other channel. And then come October, I will be streaming in the crypto trading channel full time. So yeah, very cool. Be sure to subscribe to that so you don't miss it. For now, just uploading old videos basically so that some of my videos are on there. But yeah. Dan Rab, good to see you here once again. Welcome. Kazi, hi Stu, can you please take a look at Toshi? Sure. Is that on Tradingview or is that more of oh yeah. Is there actual leverage pairs or no? Looks like not on BloFin, but that's okay. I'll take a look at MEXC. Is this the right chart? Just let me know if this is the right Toshi. Currently sitting at 0.00006. Brian, welcome. I will take a look at Supra for you. And just so I don't forget. We will be looking at that very soon. Habu would like some follow through with these rallies. I agree. Well, kind of. I kind of agree with you. The thing is with these rallies, the more we set new highs and then pull back and retest support and then go higher, I mean, that's actually very healthy. It's not what crypto people like to see. They like to see that moon mission to straight to the upside. But something to consider is if that happens and if we make those big parabolic runs, the downside is equally as painful, even more so. It happens quicker generally. So the fact that a lot of things are just staircasing up slowly is actually, that's one of the reasons why I kind of think maybe this market cycle is just slower and a lot longer than typical. Again, it absolutely does not have to, but it's just kind of something that's been crossing my mind that, you know, altcoins, Bitcoin, everything generally has been kind of staircasing slowly higher. So we're doing a good job of building support along the way. I mean, even the weekly, this is not parabolic by any means, right? I mean, we're just basically new highs, you know, setting new ranges, just kind of staircasing higher. So I don't have too many bad things to say about that other than being patient sucks. With the institutional ownership rather than straight retail, I don't see the 4-year down cycle playing out. It still could. The thing is, the downside, like the bear market is generally only a year. Like generally speaking, the bull market, it basically trades upwards for 3 years. A lot of people only really catch the last part of it because they miss the good first half of it. But generally the bear market is only actually like a year. But as far as the 4-year cycle in general, yeah, it's hard to say what institutions are going to do. It's really hard, honestly. Who knows what they're going to end up doing. I totally get that reasoning. There's way more money. It takes way more money to move the price and all that sort of thing. However, every cycle has had exponentially larger players in the game and exponentially larger money in the market. So every cycle basically needs significantly bigger players to even act the same. I'm more concerned about next cycle who's the bigger players going to be after BlackRock and the governments and whatnot. I mean, obviously they'll continue buying in slowly. But as far as like a new fresh wave of money, I just don't see really what the next one's going to be. But that's for a later discussion. Sui to $20 this cycle. I mean, we will see. Sorry, I know I never really looked at Toshi yet. Let me start by, I want to start with the naked chart. Let's get rid of the indicators other than the colors just because it looks awesome. This is a tough one for me because I see an obvious pattern, but it's already played out. If we just look at this as, hey, here was our high, higher low, pulling a fib, notice where we end up finding support right at that Stuber fib. And why I said that is it's obviously hit the first target already. So even if we come back down, basically to retest support here, I don't know if it's going to hold again for sure. But that being said, that wasn't even technically a full-on Stuber. Let's just see. What can I find here? As far as the micro trend goes, I mean, there would have been this micro trend that broke, right? We had this downtrend here. We obviously broke here. We had a low, lower low, lower high. I know that's micro analyzing, but structure is structure. Even if you wanted to talk about this one here, either way, we broke it. So technically, we might have a new support pocket, something like that. We wouldn't have to go down too much further. I really wouldn't want to see us go much lower than that. I would like to see this range hold as support. Let's bring up the trend master. We have a buy signal. We're having a hard time holding on to it. A lower sell signal, lower buy signals. We're starting to see the MDX trend master start to trend in a specific downward direction. So I have my concerns about this on the 4 hour. I want to take a look at let's see what the 5 minute has. This is kind of like some of the other charts I was looking at. Is technically there is a very micro trend that broke here, but what I'd be more interested in is basically this high. I would want to see us break that high, then get some sort of a decent pullback. I think that would be nice to see. However, right now we do have the MDX trend master buy signal on the 5 minute, but again, they're just trending to the downside. We have a bit of weakness showing in this one, in my opinion. What's the daily looking like? So if we want to look at the macro, I love using this indicator for confluence with pulling fibs. And currently on the daily, we still have higher trending sell signals and higher trending buy signals. So in that case, I would like to use this pivot right here, basically, because that's where we got our last buy signal from, and just chasing the price. That's where we topped so far. So again, just reaching for possible support levels. There is strong confluence down here for potential support. That being said, obviously on a daily time frame, that's a fairly large move. I don't know if the market's going to actually get a bounce from approximately these levels. I wouldn't really expect to see that big move to the downside. This is a coin. I've never looked at this one, to be honest. So I know nothing about the project. I don't know what their fundamentals are like. Not that I really trade those anyways. But yeah, I see some weakness on the midterm timeframes, but the macro timeframe still looks good. It's just, unfortunately, that's a big volatile range. Again, going back to the 5 minute, just anything jumping out at me. They're just, unfortunately, it's just still in a downtrend on the lower timeframes and the mid timeframes. I would want to see something with this indicator change, or like I said, breaking a significant lower high on the trend and then seeing a pullback to support for a long opportunity. That would be nice. But yeah, right now, not saying we can't go higher, but I would more so like that confirmation of breaking the downtrend and then getting a retest. I'd feel better about that. Yeah, like you just said, you like the overall longer time frame structures. In that case, I agree, right? Like the daily, it looks good. It's just unfortunately, even what I was showing on the daily to get back to those daily structure points, like that previous buy signal. I mean, that's like a 50% move to the downside, which would, well, 40% anyways. Again, not saying it has to happen, but the macro trend would still be holding totally healthy in my opinion as long as we held that. So it's just a big volatile range is all. But yeah, I agree, it's not like the structure looks bad. Also, I would actually be willing to draw some sort of a pennant here. I would want to see 3 exact touch points before breaking. Ooh, yeah, what do we have here? Basically something like this. Being we have touched the support of this trend line so many times and so clean, I wouldn't really want to see us drop this, or if we do, I want to see us reclaim it very quickly and flip that into support rather than losing it and flipping that support into resistance, because that's exactly what happened on the Bitcoin dominance chart several times. And you can see what happens basically, right? So I don't want to see that happen on something like that. But we have to see which way this breaks. Ideally, I would like to see another touch point here and flip that into support. That would be a beautiful breakout in my opinion, but we'll have to see. But yeah, so far the macro structure, it's not like it's just done a complete pump and dump rug pull, right? It's actually forming structure. Like I was talking about, it's not just going, all the way one direction and then all the way back down the other direction. It's actually building structure. So if we do end up getting that push to the upside, at least then we can start staircasing off old resistance, new support levels, right? That would be beautiful. Brian, before I forget, looking at Supra, so I don't forget again, basically playing out, I think I went over this last stream actually, but basically playing out how we kind of discussed way back at these levels. Again, not so much thinking that, hey, we're going to drop down to these levels, but definitely one of those moments of it would make sense to come back down to these support levels down here. And lo and behold, we did, right? Same thing with what we were just looking at with Toshi. Yeah, unfortunately, it's a big volatile range. Like since we started talking about it up here, I mean, this coin is down basically 40%, but it's very natural to break a nasty downtrend like that and then end up coming back and retesting support. So far, it doesn't look too bad. It doesn't look great. I'll give it that. It's not like it looks strong. However, at least it's not doing anything crazy and it's kind of acting the way I was expecting it to. If we do get some sort of a bounce, much the same, right? Looking for some sort of diagonal trend line. If this is a big if, but if we can break it, get a third touch point and then flip that resistance into support, that would be a beautiful sign for me for Supra. Would love to see that. What else? Oh, Sui. I did say I would look at Sui. Let me just save that for next time. Sui, SUI. Check out BloFin. I have not looked at that in a while, so I am just going to remove all my drawings. So something's jumping out at me right now. I do see a STU'S on an eyeball, but it hasn't happened yet, which is good. It's good that it's ahead of time, but it could mean a deeper correction here. Basically, just looking at the structure here, we have a high and we have a higher high, that means the lowest point between the two, that's my higher low. So I would be pulling a fib something like this, basically. And so if this is going to play out, I would be expecting us to come down to about $2.75. I am by no means willing to short it, assuming we're going down there. These are not targets of a short position. These are more so potential long opportunities in this area if we get down to that level, right? That's just kind of where I'm expecting support. Doesn't mean we have to get there. That being said, I do want to outline that, as well as my swing fail zone. And I want to delete this just to clean things up a little bit. What is the Trendmaster showing? We currently have a sell signal, got rejected off this part of the indicator here. However, again, we have a higher sell signal and a higher buy signal so far. So this fib pull actually lines up with those signals, right? I'm pulling my fib from the lowest point from the previous buy signal, basically. That's where we got our pivot. So having the MDX Trendmaster line up as confluence there, again, just another reason why there's potential support down here if we end up dropping there. ALGO Master, there's another thing, right? Like I was talking about earlier, I love when AI agrees with me, and notice that it has the exact same Stuber fib pocket, the same, well, it has the same pull, right? You can see that it is pulled. The yellow line goes to right here. Yellow line goes to right here. That is our fib pull. The indicator with AI is agreeing with me, basically. So love to see it. Showing a bit of resistance right around that weekly open. WO weekly open, got this supply zone. So obviously there's sellers here. So yeah, you know what? Maybe we are going to see that lower support box. Absolutely possible at this point. Another thing actually with this indicator, so not only the Stuber fibs lining up with those, but also you can see, it's actually kind of hard to see with all these indicators up, but down where I pulled my fib, you can also see this HL, so a higher low with the auto charting tools, and a higher high. So again, there is actually 3 of my MDX indicators that are lining up with that fib pull on the daily. So I think it's very reasonable to say that it's very possible we drop down there. Again, I am not interested in shorting down to those levels, but if we get down to those levels, I would be interested in looking for some lower time frame long opportunities. I actually just want to, here, I'll add an alert. And that way, as we start getting near that support, if it happens, I will be alerted, and then I can start checking things out. That's another thing, you guys. Like, I know a lot of people ask me how often or how much I'm sitting at the computer. You'll notice that, like, especially those of you guys in my Telegram channel, you'll notice a lot of the charts that I post are just from my phone in my pocket on the go, because I don't like just sitting at the computer all day. But a big help when you are looking at trade setups and you don't want to be staring at the screen all day, alerts are your best friend, right? If you want to look for swing fails, let's say that, hey, I want to look for a long opportunity, but I only want to take it if we end up getting a swing fail, right? So actually, let me save this because I'm going to delete some stuff. But let's say basically I want to look for a long opportunity if we retest support, but I want a nice tight invalidation, and I'm only interested if we get a swing fail but reclaim that level. I want to long the retest of that, basically. That's one of those times where you can literally just add alert, go once every minute until I check my phone, basically. If you have those important levels that you're interested in watching for a trade setup, and you want to see what happens rather than you want to just blindly set an order there, especially on a swing fail, for example, looking for a rejection on a trend line. Yeah, like I said, those alerts can just be your best friend. They can really save you the headache of sitting on your computer and not enjoying nature or whatever, right? I want to just zoom out a little bit on STU'S, just see. You're calling for $20. I mean, that must just be a gut feeling or whatever, unless you have fib extensions, maybe. The thing is, I generally don't look for targets all that much unless there is already structure there. I mean, we could look for random trend lines, stuff like that, that, hey, if we break out, we're going to get a third touch point on there. Yeah, sure, it's possible. Also, if you're pulling fib extensions, or fib retracements, but have extensions going way past, for example, yeah, that can be a way to look for targets, but I generally like looking for structure. So I don't really like setting targets until I see structure change. So for example, a level to be cautious with STU'S here would be that, you know what? We did lose some structure, right? We had this high, higher high. This would have been the lowest point between the two. So we have an obvious downtrend from those highs. If I pull a fib, something like this, we got very close to the 786, never quite touched it. But again, just something to be cautious of when we get back up to these levels. There is potential resistance, basically up above $4.55, up towards all-time highs. But we'll see. I haven't been following this one too closely. I was trading it a little bit about a year ago. Well, not quite a year ago, I guess. But haven't traded that one in a while. Not too much really jumping out at me other than those bigger ones, right? Like I was saying. Here, actually, let me just reload the chart. The bigger fib pulls here, they're a little more obvious. Let's check the 5 minutes, see if there's anything exciting going on. If anything on the 5 minute, there might be a scalp opportunity, something like that, if we end up trending lower. Basically, if I was playing this, man, this one is messy. But, you know, either way, we did end up breaking some resistance here. So it would make sense to get some sort of a retest if we end up testing down towards our support, to get some sort of a test to see if it's able to basically create a higher low or a double bottom or whatever. But yeah, I would definitely be looking at taking profits at my scalp targets, at least on the first half of the position, right? If the rest turns into a home run, goes to new all-time highs, fantastic. AVAX, I will check out. That's probably the last one I'll look at. Then I just want to double back on some of the other coins I was checking out. AVAX, BloFin. I know I was just looking at this the other day. I know AVAX has had some crazy moves lately, hasn't it? Oh my! Oh, guys, we are just a little late here. Just a little late. And what I mean by that is I'm just going to delete all of my things here. Just like I was just looking at structure. Yeah, unfortunately, this is Captain Hindsight. That guy's kind of a jerk sometimes, but it is what it is. This already happened, about just over 7 hours ago, technically. We were testing it. But we had this high, higher low. Let's pull a fib from our higher low. I mean, we got basically a perfect double bottom. So if you were laddering into a typical STU'S fib setup there, you would have hit 3 of your entries. 1, 2, 3. You would not have hit your 4th entry, but you have hit the first target already. So beautiful to see on the 4 hour that AVAX is finding support where I would expect it to find support, basically. But you wanted me to look at the 5 minutes, so let's take a look at that. Technically, same thing. So this is This could go one of two ways. One, there is a potential one right now. Looking at the exact same structure there, we have this high, higher low. So if we were pulling a fib, something like this, unfortunately, would have missed your two better laddered entries already. Well, actually, all three, technically, still close. But either way, the micro uptrend is still holding. So there's a couple different ways of playing this. One would be, yeah, some people might be willing with the risk appetite to long into this and just assume that the micro trend is going to hold. The thing is, if we invalidate this, if we end up dropping below the 115, that's basically where I would be pulling a fib from. Where did this swing start? And that would be basically down here. So basically, we want to find support anywhere in here. Otherwise, I believe that we would end up testing down towards these levels down here. And that doesn't have to happen, right? We could just do something like this and bounce from there and never get that. That's fine. That's how trading works. You don't always get the setup that you want. However, it's important to be ready when your setup does happen, right? It's more so theoretical levels until they get hit. You're just waiting for that setup, and unfortunately, they don't always happen. And also when they do happen, sometimes they lose too, right? But that's the whole risk reward setup. Like I was talking about with Jupiter earlier, how even though this was a risky setup, the fact that it was almost a 10-to-1 risk reward, I mean, just you can lose several of those versus winning one and still be okay, right? Trading isn't about winning every trade. Yeah, it feels great to win trades, but having proper risk reward, controlling those losses when they come, that is so important, right? Trend master on the 5 minute. So there's another thing, right? Notice the trend master holding this buy trend and ended up shooting right up, and it's lining up perfectly with the support that I outlined. So just another reason why I think we will either find support in this range here, or at that point, if we lose that, we'll probably print a sell signal, and then we might end up trending lower to retest support. But yeah, as long as we're above $29.50, the micro trend is good. If we end up losing that, I think we're dropping towards $28.70, maybe even lower, but that would be the start of support basically. What is Biddy still trying to hold on to that buy trend as well? Ethereum, I did want to zoom into the 5 minute. The 4 hour we know is still looking good. The 5 minute also not looking too bad in my opinion. Trend master indicator still holding that buy trend, even though, like I said earlier, it's significantly lower. At least it is some sort of support. And the fact that we broke a micro downtrend, right? So yeah, at this point, Ethereum not looking so bad as well. Solana, oh, nice. Never quite got stopped out. Or wait. Oh, right. I had a different fib pull here. I was like, why is my entry so high away from the 786? It is because this was my original setup. But yeah, Solana so far trying to hold on to that trend master support as well. Hype trying to even on the 4 hour trying to hold it. The 5 minute, I assume same thing. I assume basically everything looks the same, right? Everything is trying to hang on to this buy signal on the trend master. On the 5 minute, it's trying to fight a downtrend right now, so it's a little bit risky, but there is at least signs of life from the bulls. And I think the most important part about that is, like I said at the beginning of my stream, the fact that we have not reached my bearish target retest yet. Looking for the Stuber fib up around 120K. And on top of that, just the fact that we still have this buy signal, we are basically, even on that correction, we're basically just holding, we're just retesting support of the trend. And the fact that on the daily, we're trying to invalidate that sell signal very quickly. The fact that that blue line's trying to turn pink right away. I would love to see that buy signal show up in the next few days. That would just be such a good sign of strength, in my opinion. What's your thoughts on BNB? I can take a look at one more. Sure, I'll look at BNB. Just one sec. Let me catch up on the chat real quick. Was long from 846, got out at 930. Nice little pump there for you. Matt says BTC probably pump into FOMC, then dump, then pump again. I have mixed feelings about that. I don't even know if I want to go over those feelings right now. I have this weird feeling that the rate cuts are going to be a sell the news event. Rate cuts are generally super bullish for the market. Don't get me wrong. I could see it leading to some sort of a relief bounce. And actually something I was tossing around with some friends earlier was that I could see that FOMC meeting giving Bitcoin basically that short-term rally up to that super fib, followed by a sell the news event, because this definitely doesn't have to happen. I want to be clear about this. It should be a fundamental event with rate cuts happening. The thing is, all of 2025, basically since after the election, basically rate cuts, everyone's been banking on rate cuts. Everybody has been so openly bullish about, oh, they're going to cut rates. Oh, they're going to cut rates. People have been saying that for over 9 months now. So in my opinion, it's priced in. Everyone who thinks that rate cuts are going to make us go parabolic has positioned themselves accordingly. That is my one concern with the whole rate cut thing. And or even the fact that rate cuts, they'll be bullish short term, but overall that will lead to more inflation. That's not necessarily a bullish thing for the long term. It's rate cuts and printing money and stuff. That's all short term fixes. That's putting a band-aid on a wound. So that's something to consider with that, right? Again, I don't trade fundamentals. I just like to be aware of when those things are happening. So if anything, I can avoid the market and let the volatility calm down and then let structure do its thing and choose a direction. I usually try and avoid those announcements. I don't even care what they do. If they do rate cuts or if they raised rates, I literally don't care either way. I'll just be looking at the charts and trading it. I trade charts, not tweets. I don't trade fundamentals. I don't trade speeches. I don't trade tweets. I just trade charts, colorful ones. But yeah, after that little rant, I want to look at BNB because I promised I would. And you said you got out at 9:30. Nice. Let me check out the 4 hour here. 4 hour has definitely lost a little range of support. We technically had this microstructure, which we lost. So even if we wanted to say this little red candle here, this little block, treat that as an order block. And notice that we dropped that. And we're now trying to flip that into resistance. I have my concerns about that. I think it'll largely depend what the rest of the market does, but that is absolutely something to notice. If nothing else, there has been some sort of a structure break there. Trendmaster still holding support, so that's where it's not that all hope is lost. The trend hasn't actually broken. It's just worth mentioning that we did lose some structure, right? But as far as the actual trend goes, I mean, I don't know if I'd want to bet against this by shorting this, for example, because we had this sell, higher sell, higher sell. We had this buy, higher buy, higher buy. All beautiful signals, right? The sell signals, trash, because they were fighting the trend. But since everything was trending to the upside, the buy signals were absolutely phenomenal. So yeah, basically looks the same as Bitcoin, right? Same with Solana. Same with basically anything. A lot of them have lost some sort of structure, some sort of support. However, the indicators are still providing that little bit of support, just slightly lower, right? Because same thing. If I basically, if we did the same thing here, right? It's micro analyzing, but we had a high here, higher high here, higher low here. And even though it's just wicks, technically did get lower than this level. So there was this little break here. I don't want to give it too much credit because, for one, it is just a wick. And for two, the trend master is still supporting us. But it's worth mentioning that that's at least a warning shot. If nothing else, that is at least a sign of weakness. But again, I just don't want to be shorting against this market yet. I want a more obvious downtrend before I start shorting aggressively again. Matt says, glad to see the same people here every time, no matter the conditions. Absolutely. That's a good sign, you guys. It's the people I worry about out there are the ones who are always around if we're going up. And as soon as the conditions change, you'd never see them again. But that's another reason, guys, why this new channel that I'm going to be streaming on very soon. Again, for those of you who haven't been here the whole time, I have been talking about recently that I will be doing these streams on this channel, the crypto trading channel, for several reasons. Still backed by the Financial Summit. I'm still with them and everything, just having my own channel basically. Because yeah, that's the thing, right? I want to attract actual traders, not moon boys and not hopium, not just buy and hodl and tell you that things are going up eventually, because everything will. Oh, well, I shouldn't say that. Generally, things move up and to the right over time. But I want you guys to be here, whether it's bull market, whether it's bear market. Honestly, guys, don't get me wrong, I love a bull market, but I cannot wait for the bear market to start shorting the shit out of meme coins as well. There is so much money to be made to the downside as well if you are actually trading, and especially if you have, systematic trade setup. Obviously, trading isn't for everybody, right? But that's what I'm here for. I want to be trading, and I want to attract traders to my channel. So that's why we will be streaming under the crypto trading channel very soon. Like I said, next week we'll kind of be doing half and half. I'll start here and then we'll swap over to the other channel. And then come October, we'll basically be full-time trading at that channel. So guys, right now, this is just a sneak peek, basically. Just got the logo and everything all done up here the last couple of days. They did a very nice job of that. So yeah, do me a favor, subscribe to that channel right now so that when we do start there, you are ready and you're getting the notifications. No matter the conditions, no matter the time. Yeah, it's late as heck for you, isn't it? Sell the news, then pump, of course. Very possible, or the opposite, right? We'll see what Mr. Market Maker decides. I kind of agree there with SatWise. Oh, they're going to cut rates equals liquidity for blow off top. Simple math. See, and that kind of lines up with I've been saying for a while. I think even though I think we're bullish and I think we go higher, especially with altcoins, I do think we're in the later phases of this cycle. I think the clock is working against us at this point. So that is something to consider. But that doesn't mean in 5 minutes it's going to change, right? It just means that, maybe it's a bullish event for a couple of months and then the reality sets in that it is a temporary fix and eventually things do end up correcting, right? So we'll have to see what happens. Post a link to the new channel. Sure. There you are. And yeah, guys, like I mentioned earlier, my partners at BloFin are currently giving my followers this deposit and trading volume bonus. Sometimes they only give these promos to new members, but usually it's for all my members. This one is for everybody. So anyone who signed up to BloFin underneath me gets access to this current running promotion for deposit and trading volume, and obviously as well gets you into my trading channel, the Telegram, where I have been just sharing, some of my trade setup ideas, some examples of Stuber fibs, examples of how I look at market structure, just some of my overall thoughts on the market in general. So yeah, for those of you who are interested in that, you want to take advantage of this promo, anything like that, or just be in the channel with me, do yourselves a favor, scan the QR code on the screen, and hope to see you in there. With that being said, my friends, I think that's about all I wanted to go over today. So hopefully you guys did find this stream useful. If so, please be sure to hit that like button and subscribe to the channel so you don't miss these live streams in the future. And as I mentioned, don't forget to subscribe to the new channel where I will be doing these public live streams on very soon. So yeah. Other than that, my friends, thank you so much for being here with me once again. Love doing these live streams with you. And I hope the trading gods are very, well, gentle and hopefully generous with you guys. And yeah, I think that's about all. So I'm hoping to be available to stream tomorrow as well. But yeah, I'll definitely be posting some stuff in the Telegram channel over the next day or two, hopefully stream tomorrow, Wednesday. But yeah, be sure to be subscribed just so you don't miss those. That being said, my friends, I'm out. Stay safe. Thank you once again for being here. Peace out.